The Johnski is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking today, militiamen. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at something that I have been looking for too damn long. This, my friends, is the long-awaited and long overdue review of the Jazzwares World of Halo Series 6 Atriox. Finally, I found this figure. It has been far too long since I started. Real quick though, taking a look at the packaging, I'll lift up the camera so you can actually see. You have that nice back image of the Halo ring with the forest in the background. On the front you have Master Chief there, and on the bottom left you have Atriox with Chainbreaker. There is where the UNSC sigil would be, but it's currently folded in. You can see the back of the cardboard right there. On the side you have the UNSC actual typography. On the back, you have the other figures on this wave, 3 of which I have reviewed, 1 of which I never will, this guy right here, and Atriox himself. Buck is coming up. And that is pretty much it. I say this in every review. You don't really care about the packaging unless you are a carded collector, of which I am not. So let's get on to the figure, shall we? Let's. Freeze frame.
You want to be a good boyfriend? Then you have to bring home dubs on that game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
You have to make sure that you're loving her, cleaning when she needs it,
Cooking when she has a long day of work.
rubbing those sweet little sausage toes. Jimmy, what? What, just me?
Anyways, Jenny, what do you think makes you a good girlfriend?
That's easy. I take it in the ass.
What?
Freeze frame, unfreeze. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is in all of his glory. Let's move aside Chainbreaker real quick, and we can actually take a look at Atriox himself. So, starting off with the head sculpt, it's kind of bad, I'm not going to lie. Like, he just has 2 little red dots for his eyes, which are really bad. I do not like the way that looks whatsoever, but he does have his tattoo or his chalk. I'm not actually quite sure what it is that he has on his face here, but his typography that he has on his face in that white sort of skull is present, which is very good. He also has his braided beard hair, which goes around all the way to the back. You see his sort of ponytail, which continues onto the back of his head. Always great to see. His armor is picked out in some very nice silver paint with some brown straps to represent the leather that holds it together. This, of course, goes down his left arm, of which you can see some leather wraps around his hands, some sort of stabby implementations there, and his mechanical arm, which is also picked out in that very nice silver paint, which is absolutely fantastic. I love the way that looks. He has some, I think this is actually stolen UNSC armor that is sort of like trophied, which you can see on his knees and his waist. This is cod piece, I guess, which is kind of funny. Nothing really too fancy aside from very nice sculpting on his thighs and his shins. You can see more leather work there holding on those pieces of armor, as well as some big old clompers. You can see on the bottom there, this is a full boot which goes around his foot. It would have been nice to see these toe pieces picked out in silver, because I'm sure they are, but the gray is fine. There's plenty of silver on this figure itself. It is absolutely fantastic looking. But let's see how it stacks up in the articulation test. So, he does have a ball joint at the head, but because of the way his hair is sculpted, he does have this sort of soft plastic beard and ponytail there. It's kind of very limited, which kind of sucks, but it's to be expected with this kind of figure. You have a full range of motion at both of the arms. Even this big old piece of armor doesn't get in the way of the articulation, going outwards at least. Spinning around, there is a problem with the right arm. The full left arm, though, can do a full 360 range of motion, as well as a pretty bad Jazzwares elbow bend at the elbow. It's even worse on his right mechanical arm, but it is there. You know, it's nice that we have the articulation. You also have an in and out motion at both hands. There's no up and down. This isn't a vintage collection figure. You have a very limited but still present ball joint at the waist there. He can sort of kind of do crunches, but not really. But what he does have is a fantastic swivel at the hip, at the waist proper, which is very nice, as well as the excellent, and mind the angle here, articulation at his hips, which are on ball joints. He also has an upper thigh cut, so you can get a swivel there, as well as a very nice double jointed knee bend, a ankle hinge, and an ankle pivot, which is very deep. So overall, pretty good articulation. Of course, the bottom half of these Jazzware figures are also always absolutely phenomenal. It's just that the arms are kind of lackluster in a way, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know what? I've kind of come to expect it at this point. Moving on, though, I will show the single accessory that this guy comes with, and this is the Chainbreaker Energy Mace, the one that he uses to fuck up Red Team in the beginning of Halo Wars 2. You do have some nice leather wrapping around the handle at the end, so kind of where the pommel would be. And then the nice red energy parts of the battle, the busting up part of the mace there, picked out in the clear red plastic, which is nice. The mallet itself is just sculpted in a light gray plastic, so nothing fancy with it. You can, of course, fit it in his hand, which is sort of hard for a lot of Brute figures, but for Atriox, it works fine. The one thing I think that this thing should be is a little bit bigger. I know that Atriox's mace should not be that small, that's for sure. Even though this guy was absolutely wasted in Halo Infinite, I do think that even just in the short time that we saw him in that game, we should have seen more action with the weapon here. Anyway, that's all he comes with, unfortunately. It would be nice if he had more accessories, but I don't really know what we could possibly give him, except for maybe a helmet, but that's about it. Anyway, let's move on to the size comparison. Freeze frame.
Alright boys, Halloween's almost here. What are we all dressing up as?
I'm going as Captain Keys.
Good choice, good choice. The GOAT. I think I'm gonna dress up as Spider-Man. And you know what, Jimmy? You should dress up as the Goblin. Why the Goblin? Because you're gonna be gobbling on this dick.
Freeze frame on freeze. So here we have Atriox next to the golden standard of action figures himself, Darth Vader, who you can see Atriox just towers over him. Here he is next to Spartan Buck from Halo 5, which is an upcoming review. So you can get an idea of how that works. Let's bring in one of my custom Mandalorian figures, so you can see how he compares to sort of a standard vintage collection figure. And he just absolutely towers over everyone. He can't even get him completely in frame. He's just that massive. Atriox is one huge chunk of plastic, and I absolutely do think that he is awesome. But I'll tell you more about that in my final thoughts. So let's get into that. Exactly, freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. So I think that this figure is pretty good, all things considered. Jazzwares has been known to be either super hit or super miss with this figure. This one was a hit, in my opinion. I really love the detailing on this figure. It is definitely the best Brute that they've produced so far of all the standard infantry Brutes and all the named characters. This one is the best Brute character that they've produced. I think Atriox is absolutely fantastic, and I'm so glad that I have finally found him after all this time. One thing that I do wish he would have had is just maybe a bit more distinctiveness, maybe a wash over his armor would have been nice, but even though that's something I can do myself, I think that the Chainbreaker mace could have used more detail on it, and maybe his feet could have used a bit more detail, because it's sort of silver gray, which is weird, but it's not the worst thing that could happen to a figure. Maybe a bit more articulation would have been nice, but overall, I think that this figure is absolutely fantastic. For the price you pay for it, I got it for $10.99, which is an absolutely valid price for a figure this massive and this good. So, Jazzwares knocked it out of the park with this one. More like this, just make it more accessible. Like I said, keep World of Halo alive is a hashtag that I put in one of my recent videos, and I hope that other people will start using it in their videos as well. It'll be right here in the editing process, so post that around. If you like Jazzwares World of Halo, if you like Halo in general, if you like The Banished, Halo Wars 2, Halo Infinite, what have you, make sure you share this video with all of your friends, all your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Helps the channel grow and helps me keep making more reviews just like this. that's going to be it for this review, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace.